Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to be connecting up an Xbox adaptive controller to the Nintendo Switch, and then we're going to use some non-standard controllers and we're going to try and get a win on Mario Kart 8. I say try because I haven't got one yet, but more practice is needed, and I'm hoping the pressure of the video will get me my first win. Now this controller here was made by Microsoft for gamers with limited mobility, so those gamers who are missing their fingers or their hands or their arms or any limbs which makes holding a normal controller hard. And that's why this was designed. It's an adaptive controller, so you can adapt it to your needs. For example, if you're missing your left hand, you're going to set this up differently than if you're missing your right arm. So I won't go into the details too much of this controller because you can watch your own reviews on it, but basically we have a couple of big buttons here. We've got a USB port here which will mimic the right analog stick, another one here which will mimic the left analog stick, and this is the best bit, a huge range of 3.5mm ports at the back that we can plug in various different switches to mimic every single one or any one of those buttons. For example, you see here we have the left trigger and right trigger. So if you have problems hitting the right trigger, then what you can do is you can plug a switch into the back there and you can put it anywhere you want. It could be under your chin, you could be operating it with your foot or your forearm, your elbow, etc. So you get the idea. So this works perfectly on the Xbox because it's designed to work on the Xbox. What happens if you want to use it on a Nintendo Switch? Because you might love the Nintendo Switch games, but again you might find it hard using the small Joy-Cons or the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. In which case, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use this on this. So hopefully it will be useful to some of you out there. Now, obviously, this is not designed for the Nintendo Switch, and it's never going to work as good on here as it does on the Xbox. Also, this isn't supported by Nintendo, so if anything goes wrong with your Switch, then you can't go and say to Nintendo, well, it's your fault, I was using the Xbox adaptive controller, because remember, this is not a Nintendo product. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, you do this at your own risk. So to get it to work, we're going to have to use a Magic NS adapter, and that will basically convert the signal from here so the Switch can understand it. Now, when it comes to the switches here, you can buy some really good quality ones that are probably, will probably last many years. Unfortunately, they're very expensive, so I've tried to do this on a bit of a budget. So this thing here alone costs around £80, so it's not cheap, but it is very good quality. I've bought this here, the Magic NS adapter, for around £18. Also comes with this little USB-C on-the-go cable, so you can actually play this in handheld mode, but realistically, when you've got all this stuff laid out on a table, then you're going to want to play it in docked mode to have a big screen, because this is not going to be a few inches away from your face, so it's going to be a bit hard to see. Now with this joystick here, I picked it up from a local charity shop for £3, and this one here is just a cheap Atari clone. I already had this from one of my Fix-It videos. Again, they're not expensive, so it is possible to do on a shoestring. I'm also going to show you how you can just buy 3.5mm audio cables and make your own switches. So you can buy like push buttons from places like CPC in the UK, places like eBay and Amazon will be full of them, and then you can basically cut the cable here and connect up your own switches. There's nothing magical in here, it's just a case of shorting together two wires and then it will make the connection, but I'll show you that in this video. So let's get started. Okay, so I've done plenty of testing on this with another switch, but this switch here has never been connected up to this one before, so what you see in this video will be real. If it's a struggle to connect up, you see that it is a struggle to connect up. Now, when I did it on my other switch, it did take quite a few attempts before it worked, but I'm hoping now that I know what I'm doing, it will work quicker. Right, so first things first, we have to go into system settings because we have to make sure that something is turned on. So go to controllers and sensors, and you see here it will say Pro Controller Wired Communication. We got to make sure that that is on because by default it will be off. So just tap it until that turns on. Right, okay, so that's that bit there. Then what we need to do is, I'm going to do it in handheld mode to begin with, and then we'll put it on the dock at the end. So, if we're doing it in handheld mode, we need to use this cable here. This is a USB-C on-the-go cable. We're going to plug it into the bottom of the Nintendo Switch, and then we're going to plug in the Magic NS adapter into here. Now this has a load of different modes because you can use it on various different equipment. We need it to be on the purple mode, it's like a pinky purple. To do that, you need to press and hold this black button until it cycles through the mode. So press that once and hold it down, and you will see it's now gone to green. So I'm just going to fast forward through this. I'm just going to keep pressing it to go into the different modes. You've got to press and hold it down. Blue. Now if you bought this adapter a long time ago, you might find that you haven't got that pink or pinky purple mode, in which case then just update it on your PC and then you will then get that new mode. Okay, so that's that bit there. Right, we then need to get our Xbox adaptive controller, and it comes with this USB-C cable here. So we're going to plug it into the back. Now what I will stress is that depending on what joysticks you use, sometimes you will have to give it separate power from this little DC jack here. So you can see 5 volts, 2 amp, and the middle of it is the positive, and the outer edge there is the negative. You can see there. Okay, but in my testing, personally, I haven't had to use that. Right, so we plug that into the back there, make give us a little bit of room, and now we're going to plug this into here, and then hopefully it will be recognised. There we go, you can see now it's lit up here, yeah, and now look at this, straight away. You can already see now it is working via the Magic Ennis adapter, yeah. So if I was to go into something, we can just go into, for example, I'll go down to System Settings. You can see now it's giving me access to that, and home again. So you can already see now this is now working on here. But remember, this is mimicking an Xbox controller, and on the Xbox controller the buttons are a different way around. So A is down here, B is up here, X is here, Y is here. So when I press B on here, it's actually mimicking A. So just bear that in mind, because it's in the same layout as an Xbox controller, and B on the Xbox controller is here, so you're actually pressing B to mimic the A. But we can remap this to anything we like on an Xbox or the accessories app on a PC. So basically that is that bit there. Now let me just show you the joystick. So if I plug this joystick in to the left analog stick here at the side, plug it into here like that, this will actually work as an analog stick. I'm sort of running out of room here, hold on. But the problem I have with this is it's not giving me the full range of movement. So if I go over here, you can see it moves there, but look, it won't move left. So I need to calibrate it to move it, to allow it to be able to move left. So again, go into System Settings, and we're going to go down to Controllers and Sensors, and then we're going to go down to where it says Calibrate Control Sticks, and we're going to press that. Now we have to press in the stick that we want to calibrate. Now luckily on this particular one, the left in, normally you have to press in on it, is this one here. No, this one here, sorry. There we go, okay. Now if you have a look here, you can see that when I move it around, can you see it hasn't got the full range of movement? So it has on the right, but not on the left, it only goes to there. Down the bottom it hasn't got the full range either. But it is definitely analog, you can see small bits here. So we need to calibrate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to press X to calibrate, and it says only calibrate if there's something wrong, and now it tells me what to do. So I'm going to go to the very left, and you can see it goes there. I'm going to go to the very bottom, I have to do it quite hard, there, release, and to the left. Now obviously this is going to depend on your joystick. You see I have to do it really hard for that to work, and now it's going to ask me to go all the way around, and then by doing this it will actually recalibrate it for it to work. So I'm going to have to put it down to do it properly. There we go, calibration complete. Now watch this now. If you have a look here, you hold it up, you can now see that now I've got the full range of movements. Yeah, and you can see little bits, so you can see it is working as an analog stick. Okay, now with this one here, we're going to plug this one into the right port here, because this is going to be the same as our right stick. But with this one, this is not an analog stick, this is just clicky, can you see? So it's just basically on or off. There's no movement in between, but that's going to be fine for what we want it for, because in Mario Kart we're just going to be accelerating and decelerating via here, so accelerating and braking. Right, okay, so that's that there. If you did want to test what buttons do what, then obviously you can go to Test Input Devices, Test Controller Buttons, and then for example you can hit it here. And if you have a look just to see how responsive it is, let's bring this closer. Watch this, like. to me it feels instantaneous. So obviously there has to be some lag introduced, but it's I don't really think there's going to be enough lag that's going to warrant a major issue. And then you can press the different buttons on here and you can work out what, you know, what does what. Yeah, so here obviously we have the D-pad. You can play around with this yourself to see what there is, and then when we plug something into the back, you can then have whatever switch you want. So this, I might as well show you this now while it's all connected up. So this is a 3.5mm jack. This is just a very cheap audio cable. Again, you can get these from eBay, Amazon, places like CPC very cheaply. So let's say now, like I said earlier, if we wanted something to be the left trigger or the right trigger. So let's put it into RT in the back there. And now what we have to do is, I've got a tiny bit of tin foil here. You would cut this lead and you would need to short the wires that go from this one here to the tip. So if you have a listen now, you will see or hear, every time I touch them two, it shorts out. So if I go to the middle one and that, it doesn't do it. And if I go to that one and the middle one, it doesn't do it. But the bottom one and that one works as the right trigger. So if you have a look there now, you see on this one it's called ZR. So let me just hit this. And let me hit some other buttons so you can see. Right now, watch this. And again, look how responsive it is. Yeah, and if I was to plug that into something else, let's plug that into the left stick. Is that the left stick there? Yeah. So now this will be the same as pressing left stick in. So you get the idea. So all you would have to do is tone out what this one is and this one is on the wire. So unplug it, get your multimeter, tone it out, cut the wires, then you know what two wires you need, put them onto the switch, and then all that happens is every time you press the switch, it's making the connection. So you can actually make your own switches very, very cheaply, because the switches that you buy, if you were buying them with this, when I had a quick look, they were really expensive. So you know, if you're on a budget, I'm not saying this is better. Obviously the switches that you buy for £40 or whatever they are probably going to be better. But if you're on a budget, don't be put off, because you can make them yourself with just a little bit of soldering skill. Right, okay, so that's that bit done there. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to remap this on a Windows 10 PC, because at this moment in time you can see I haven't got any profiles set, and for example when I do this here, it's going to be coming up as A and B, but now when I do this one here, I had this set earlier to a different profile. Now watch what happens when I hit this. Can you see? It's ZR and ZL. And now if I go to the original profile again, you can see it's back to A and B. So you can set this up however you want it to do, and we have various different profiles. So at the moment there's no profile, so this is default. This is the profile I did earlier. You have another one and another one, and then back to default again. So you can set this up for 3 different games, and then you won't have to keep remapping the buttons every single time. Just save those 3 profiles and you will do this on your Xbox or the Windows Accessory as app. So let me quickly show you that now. Okay, so I'm going to unplug this from the Nintendo Switch, and I now need to plug this into my PC, and that will allow me to remap it. Okay, so you need to download the Xbox Accessories app and go into it, and then it will ask you to connect up a controller. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our adaptive controller with the USB-C, plug it into here, and you will see it will come up on screen. There we go. And now what we have to do is we're going to configure it to what we want. So for example, you can see now that I've already done one on the Mario Kart. So let me just go to another one, and just to roughly show you how you need to do it. So we're going to go to new profile and then just call it what you want. And now for example, if I was to go to this one here, if I wanted to change this to right trigger, I would click on B and then primary button A, and I would go to right trigger and press OK. Now earlier on when I did it, I then had to go to right trigger and then copy that one there to A. So it was like I had to swap them over, otherwise it wouldn't recognise it. And then I went to this one here, and then you can change this one to whatever you want. For example, left trigger, OK, and then you would go to left trigger here and change that one to B. Okay, and you can see now that they've been mixed up like that. And then you will just go back to here, and then you can give it a particular slot, for example, put it to the slot you want, and slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. correspond to the profiles up here. So I've already got Mario Kart here set. So if I go to Mario Kart on Switch here, if you look closely, what I've done is I've done the D-pad as the A, B, X and Y, and then I've done these two buttons here as right trigger and left trigger. Alright? Right, let's get on to the fun part now, which is the actual game, and let's see if I can get this win. So what's going to happen is, I'm going to be putting this on the floor, I'm going to be setting it to profile 1, which is this one here, which is Mario Kart. Right trigger, so this is going to be my drift around the corners, this is going to be my power up, I'm going to be using this to accelerate forward and backwards, and I'm going to be using this to do the left and right. So let's see how we go. Okay, so here we have it, got the two joysticks here, and we have the adaptive controller down on the floor here. Right now it's not set to any particular profile. I'm going to just change that just when we're about to start the game because I want to use the A and B buttons. So let's get into Mario Kart. I'm going to do single player, Grand Prix, 150cc. Right, let's do the Mario circuit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap the profile button with my foot. So I'm now on profile 1. So if you have a look down here, you can see it's lit up now because we're on profile 1. So that's going to change it now to the ZL and the ZR. So basically, you know, the left and right trigger. Right, okay. Highest I've ever got is second, so let's see if I can beat that. Oh, bad start, right, okay. In fourth. I'm still not fully used to the controls. Seconds, so it's going good so far. I'm in first. Ah, blue shell. Still in first though. I haven't done this well. Oh no, come on, come on, come on. Oh no, I'm in second. Can't see what's going on. Second. This is the last lap. Third. Oh no, it's all going wrong now. Come on. I'm in third. Oh no. Fifth, sixth, no, fifth. Third, come on. Come on, come on, come on. It's just up here. Ah, second. I can't seem to beat second. Anyway, as you can see, with more practice, and that was on 150cc, you would be able to master this. So you know, even now, if you didn't have full use of your hands, if you could stick this down and still be able to move it left and right, I think this could be a good idea for the Nintendo Switch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to experiment with it on the PlayStation 4. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, maybe look out for one of my videos. I don't know whether I will be able to get it working on the PlayStation 4, but I'm pretty sure I can do, because using the Cronus Max adapter, you can actually connect up the Xbox controller pretty easily to the PlayStation 4. So I'm thinking this will be the same sort of thing. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Apologies that I didn't get first place, but you know, it's an honest video. And yeah, subscribe if you like these kind of videos. So take care now. Bye.